Your brain just tried to convince you to skip this video to watch something more entertaining. Guess what? That is also behavioral economics working against your wallet. If you are still financing tampons in 6 installments and thinking that saving money is something only for wealthy people, you urgently need to discover why Nobel Prize winners in economics dedicated their entire lives studying how our minds sabotage our bank accounts. I am Duchess Dollars, 35 years old with the face of a 20-year-old. I love being rich, and today I will reveal 10 neuroscience financial techniques that work even when your willpower is rock bottom. Because yes, darling, there is a scientifically proven way to trick your own brain into finally saving money without becoming that person who splits an Uber Eats order across 4 different credit cards. The only thing I like financed is international travel. Everything else gives me hives. And if you want to know how I went from the life of financing rice at the grocery store to the life of deciding which Chanel bag to use for meetings with my hedge fund manager, stay until the end because I will deliver everything based on studies from Stanford, Harvard, and Nobel Prize winners. Back in high school, I cried because I did not have a designer planner. Today, I cry because I cannot decide between Paris or Milan for weekend shopping trips. We grow up, right? But I did not achieve this by dreaming that someday money would be left over. I achieved it by applying techniques that neuroscientists have already discovered about how our brains work with money. Do you know the story of the famous marshmallow experiment? Walter Mischel from Stanford University placed 4-year-old children in a room with a marshmallow on the table. The rule was simple. You can eat it now or wait 15 minutes and get 2. Only 1/3 of the children managed to wait. The most impressive part? Years later, these same children who resisted the marshmallow had more success in life. Better SAT scores, higher self-esteem, more stable relationships, and, amazingly, better financial situations in adulthood. Self-control at 4 years old predicted financial success at 40. The question is, if a 4-year-old child can resist the marshmallow, why cannot you, an educated adult, resist the dress on sale on Instagram? The answer lies in neuroscience. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winner in economics, has already proven that our brain has 2 systems. The hot one, which is impulsive and wants immediate pleasure, and the cold one, which is rational and can think about the future. The problem is that when it comes to money, our hot system always wins. That is why you go to the mall to buy basic black pants and come back with 3 blouses that do not even match anything in your wardrobe. Your hot brain saw the pieces, felt pleasure, and bought them. The cold brain, which knew you already have 15 similar blouses, stayed quiet in the corner watching the damage. But there is more. Your brain still suffers from something called anchoring bias. This means you fixate on the first information you receive and use it as a reference for all subsequent decisions. That is why when you see that $3,000 handbag in the store window, the $1,500 one seems like a smart investment. Your brain anchored on the higher price and now thinks it is making a great deal. Stores know this and exploit your anchoring bias every single day. Have you ever noticed that the most expensive items are always in front at eye level? It is not a coincidence, my dear. It is a scientific strategy to make you anchor on the high price and buy the middle item thinking you are saving when you are actually spending more than necessary. There is also availability bias, which makes you make decisions based on the most recent experiences. If your friend just bought an iPhone and is happily posting stories about it, your brain will use this information to justify why you also need to replace your phone that is working perfectly. Richard Thaler, another Nobel Prize winner in economics, discovered something fascinating. We do mental accounting with our money. We separate money into subjective categories in our heads and treat each category as if it were a different bank account. That is why you can spend $200 at a club, but feel bad about paying $50 for a course that could change your career. Your brain treats entertainment money as if it were different from investment money. It is a mental illusion, but it works. And we can use this illusion to our advantage when saving. But before that, I want you to understand one thing. It is not your fault that you are always broke at the end of the month. You are not weak. You are not stupid. You are not irresponsible. You are human, and humans are biologically programmed to prefer immediate pleasure. Now that you already know that your brain is your biggest financial enemy, I will teach you 10 scientific techniques to transform it into your greatest ally. And if you really want to learn to be rich, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, because each technique I will share has been tested in laboratories and approved by universities worldwide. Technique 1. Abandon the traditional budget. I know you are going to curse at me now, but listen to me. A study followed more than 9,000 people for 13 weeks and discovered that it did not matter what type of budget they made. Everyone spent between 30 and 40% above the limit they themselves had established. It is like that friend who goes on a diet on Monday and is eating brownies on Tuesday. The problem with traditional budgeting is that it requires constant mental effort, and your brain wants to save energy for more important things, like remembering if you locked the front door or if you replied to your mother's text. Making spreadsheets every day is not sustainable, and that is why 90% of people who start with spreadsheets give up in less than 2 months. Technique 2. Exploit anchoring bias in your favor. Remember, I said you anchor on the first price you see? Let us use this to save money. Before going shopping, research the most expensive prices in the category you want to buy. Seriously, do this. If you want to buy sneakers, look for the $1,000 models first. After your brain anchors on that value, the $400 sneakers will seem like a bargain. But there is an important detail. Only do this when you really need to buy something. Do not use this technique to justify unnecessary purchases, because then you become a victim of your own trick. Technique 3. Automate everything. Your brain is lazy, and we are going to use this laziness to our advantage. I configured my bank so that on the day my salary comes in, 10% goes directly to my glamorous emergency fund box. I do not even see the color of that money. It is the same strategy that American companies use to increase participation in retirement plans from 37% to 86%. How? They changed from a system where the employee had to choose to participate to a system where they were automatically included. Automation eliminates the need to decide every month whether you are going to save or not, because that decision was already made just once. Technique 4. Use Richard Thaler's mental accounting to your advantage. Since your brain separates money into categories, let us create categories that work for you. I have accounts at 3 different banks, and each one has a specific purpose. Bank 1, Duchess of Daily Life, for basic day-to-day expenses. Bank 2, Duchess Investor, for applications and investments. Bank 3, Duchess Emergency, for unexpected events and big dreams. When money is mixed, your brain treats everything as available. When it is separated, it is as if each account were sacred. Technique 5. Use cash when you are learning to have control. Research shows that when we pay with physical money, our brain activates the area that interprets this as pain, but when we use cards, it activates the pleasure area. It is literally as if we were receiving a gift from the universe every time we swipe the card. When you see that $50 bill leaving your wallet, it hurts your soul. But when you swipe the card, it is pure dopamine. Studies prove that consumers spend more when using cards because the physical act of handing over money is more tangible and painful. That is why casinos use chips instead of money. It becomes less painful to bet. Technique 6. Make it difficult to access your own money. An experiment in the Philippines showed that people who opted for accounts without immediate liquidity increased the amount saved by 81%. It is the same logic as hiding chocolate in the highest kitchen cabinet so you do not eat it during PMS. My emergency reserve is in a bank where I do not even have an app on my phone. To withdraw, I need to call, wait for service, confirm data, answer security questions about my first dog's name. It is so annoying that I only use it in real emergencies, like when I need to buy a last-minute gift for Mr. Millionaire's mother-in-law's birthday. Technique 7. Turn saving into an addiction using dopamine. Dopamine is the pleasure neurotransmitter, and when you associate saving with reward, your brain wants to repeat the behavior. Set small goals and reward yourself when you reach them. For every $1,000 I save, I give myself a gift. It does not need to be expensive, a spa visit, a new book, a piece I had been eyeing. The important thing is to create a positive association between saving and pleasure. It is pure psychological hack. You are training your brain to feel pleasure every time you save. Technique 8. Reverse the logic of herd mentality. 90% of people do the same thing at the same time. Buy gifts in December, travel in January, join gyms in February. Do the opposite and save a fortune. Buy winter clothes in summer with 60% discounts. Travel in low season spending half the price. Buy Christmas gifts in January when everything is on clearance. While everyone is following the herd and paying full price, you are being strategic and saving hundreds of dollars per year. Technique 9. Combat confirmation bias by studying finances. Confirmation bias is when you only pay attention to information that confirms what you already believe. If you think investing is only for the rich, you will look for news that confirms this. If you think saving is impossible, you will focus on obstacles. Knowledge is the antidote to cognitive biases. When I started studying about money, I discovered I was losing a fortune in bank fees I did not even know existed. I changed banks, negotiated rates, started investing. Just with knowledge, I saved more than $2,000 per year. Technique 10. Pay off your debts by exploring loss aversion. Kahneman and Tversky discovered that we feel more pain with losses than pleasure with equivalent gains. Use this to your advantage. Frame your debts as losses you are having every month instead of just interest you are paying. When you owe on credit cards, you are not just paying 3% interest per month. You are losing $300 per month on a $10,000 debt. It is money going directly from your pocket to the bank, without you receiving anything in return. No investment return compensates for this loss. Do you know what my first millionaire decision was? Canceling DoorDash for a month and cooking at home. The money came back, self-esteem too, and I discovered I could have control over small things. When you prove to yourself that you can overcome the biases of your own brain, you gain courage to dream about bigger things. The most interesting thing about all this is that these techniques work even when you do not have much money. It is not a matter of having $1,000 left over every month. It is a matter of applying behavioral science to the $10, $20, $50 you can save. Small amounts, when treated with the right neuroscience, transform into big results. Some people think it is only worth saving if you have a lot of money left over. Lie. It is worth saving $5 a day, because in 1 year, that becomes $1,800. And $1,800 invested correctly can become $3,000 in a few years. It is exponential mathematics working in your favor. But there is one thing I want to make very clear. All these techniques only work if you do not have destructive financial addictions. If you have shopping compulsions, if you gamble online, if you have been in the red for years, you need professional help before applying these strategies. Now you already know. Saving is not a matter of having money left over. It is a matter of understanding how your brain works and using science to your advantage. All these biases I mentioned, anchoring, availability, confirmation, loss aversion, they will try to sabotage you. But now you have the weapons of neuroscience to fight against them. It is not expensive. You are just earning too little. But while you cannot increase income, at least learn to control outflow using science instead of willpower. Willpower is finite, science is infinite. If you made it this far and really want to start saving using neuroscience, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications too, because I will teach more scientific techniques on how to get rich without depending on a millionaire boyfriend or grandma's inheritance. If you like these techniques based on studies from Stanford, Harvard, and Nobel Prize winners in economics, write here in the comments, "I want to be scientifically rich," and tell me which of these 10 techniques you will apply first in your life. Before leaving, I will leave you with a reflection. You spend 3 hours on skincare, but never spent 10 minutes studying behavioral economics. Your skin looks good, but your account looks ugly. There is no point in manifesting wealth in the mirror if you continue being a victim of your own brain's biases. Always remember, I was not always rich. I just always knew that being poor was not for me, and that my brain needed to be trained to work in my favor. The only thing I like financed is international travel. Everything else gives me hives, especially financial ignorance disguised as bad luck in life. When you understand that you can reprogram your mind to save, you will understand that you can do anything. Your brain is the most powerful tool you have, but it needs to be educated. And now you have the instruction manual based on decades of scientific research. Until the next video, and remember, while other women are waiting for Prince Charming to arrive in a Ferrari, you will be building your own financial empire using the same techniques that billionaires use, just in a glamorous and scientifically proven way. Win at life.